Live.
All right.
Preparing the live stream.
All right. Let me know when it's streaming.
We are live.
Praying to God, calling the meeting to order. Time is now 7:05. Mr. Kolstey, would you please do the roll call?
All right, I will bring up my spreadsheet and go JD by JD. All right, Mark Axon, he said he was not going to be here. He's not here. Lisa Gansky.
Here.
All right, Lisa's here. Alicia Miller. No, Alicia Miller. Gilbert Midonet. No, Gilbert. Matthew Morgan.
Here.
Matthew's here. Gary Popkin. No, Gary. Stacy Pressman. No, Stacy. Cody Anderson.
Present.
Jay Carr. No, Jay. Todd Haggerty.
Here.
Laura Newell.
Present.
Rob Arrigo.
Presente.
John James. No, John. Karen Thompson.
I'm here.
Brandon Lyon.
Here.
Zachary Remrian. No, no Zach. Brian Wells.
Here.
Brian's here. Rachel Becker.
Here.
Patricia Berthod. No, Patricia.
Mr. Kolstey, if I can just jump in for a second, if I can just please make sure, if everyone could please make sure they're logged into Porcupine. They're using the same password they've always used. The Porcupine link was in the committee meeting email that was sent out to everybody today. If you don't remember your password, you'll need to reset it to get in. That is all. Thank you. Mr. Kolstey, you may continue.
Millie Dordell. No, Millie. David Fight. No, David. Sean Hannon. No, Sean. Craig Miles. No, Craig. Mark Brayman.
Hold on. Here.
Greg Colwell.
If everyone could please mute their sessions if they're not recognized, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Craig Colwell.
Present.
Chris Alinsky.
I'm present.
Rich Pertel. No, he said he would not be here. Tom Queter.
Despite the state of New York, I'm still here.
Steve Becker. No, Steve. Eric Cooper.
Did you jump out of JD6 without seeing if I was here?
Did I call you? Tim O'Connor, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Well, Cody interrupted and had an announcement. So
It was purposeful. Thank you.
okay, so Mark, Craig, Tim, Chris, Tom are here. Rich is not here. On to JD7. Steve Becker's not here. Eric Cooper. No, Eric. Tony D'Orazio.
I'm here.
Jim Dayton.
Here.
Angela Einwachter.
Present.
Mark Legowski.
I'm here.
All right, Mark's here. Okay, Robert Glomboski.
I'm here.
Sean Fallon. John Fallon.
I'm here.
All right. Mark Smith.
Present.
Aaron Becker. No, Aaron. I see Zach Remian came in. Can you confirm you're here?
Mr. Remian.
Zachary Remian. I will.
He said he just put in the chat,
He's
I'm
trying.
trying.
Okay. Okay. I'll come back to you at the end. Okay. No Aaron Becker. More Botsford.
Here.
Garrett Kane.
Here.
I'm here. Francis Law.
Present.
Patrick Mahoney. No Patrick. Len Morlock. No Len. Jamie Vandewalker.
Present.
Dwayne Whitmer.
I'm here.
Daniel Donnelly.
Present.
Pietro Geraci.
Here.
Robert Greavesland. No Robert. Okay. Anthony Pellegrino. Okay. Bill Schmidt. No Bill. Jeffrey Danicki.
Here.
All right. Gary Denoyne.
I'm here.
Paul Grindle.
Here.
George Ostrowski.
Yep.
Artie Sintef. No Artie. William Van Helmond.
I'm at this meeting, yes.
All right. Angelo Veltri. No Angelo. Mike Arcati. I heard he was going to be late. Mark Weinblatt.
Here.
Okay, Mark is here.
Don't zoom and drive. Thank you, Mr. Weinblatt.
Gabrielle Cordova.
Here.
Oh, the spreadsheet is okay. Emmanuel Torres. Not here. Richard Bell.
Present.
Susan Overeem Cummings. Susan?
It's me. I'm here.
All
I'm here.
right. Okay, going back to Zach Remian.
God damn it.
And
Hey,
then I think I need to, I'm promoting Alicia Miller. I see she's,
Was on and then shut it.
Oh.
Now it's
I am present, Andrew, if you didn't get me.
okay, I will mark you down as Alicia comes in. Right there, JD4. Okay. Alicia Miller, can you confirm you're here? You need to accept the request to be promoted.
Hi, yes, Alicia Miller is here.
Okay, I'm going to send you a request. You got to accept it to be the panelist. And I will mark you as present. All right, so we have 43 out of 66 present. Quorum is 34, so we are 9 above quorum. So we have quorum.
very good. Thank you, Mr. Colsty. Give me one moment. Just a few opening remarks. For those of you who are not aware, we filed an appeal some time ago to the Second Circuit regarding our denial of preliminary injunction motion. We have submitted all the briefs. Once again, Ilya has written all those for us, and I believe that all the parties have turned in their responses at this point. So we are awaiting scheduling or a decision from the bench from the Second Circuit. So we are awaiting that. In the meantime, our motion for summary judgment is going to be made at some point. The deadline for reply papers in the Sam Party. For those of you who don't know, the Sam Party of New York and the WFP case has been consolidated with ours for summary judgment. The WFP lawyer died, as seems to be their problem. But they have been granted an extension until September 24th for reply papers. So we're just waiting for everyone's reply papers to get in, and then at some point after that, we will be making an oral argument, or Judge Kohl will be making a decision from the bench. We will have to see how that goes. So that's just the update on that. There's been a great deal of organizing around the state regarding healthcare worker vaccine mandates that were passed down from the state. There's been an increasing amount of activity around the state, and I'm happy to say that Libertarians have been involved with that. I know Laura Newell has been working on one in Amsterdam. We had one last weekend, and there's another one just today with her daughter up in Amsterdam, New York, in Montgomery County, which is a little bit about an hour outside of Albany. There's also similar, I believe, and Jim Dayton can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that there's a weekly protest going on at Strong Medical Center in Rochester.
Yes, we have multiple weekly protests going on in Wayne and Ontario County.
Perfect. That's great, and that's just a kind of local activism that we'd like to see happening. William Van Helmond also mentioned before the call that similar goings on down in Suffolk. So we're grateful that people are getting these organized. We're especially grateful that there are libertarians getting involved. As far as advancing liberty, we need to find allies and try and get involved in advancing this important no mandate agenda. So that we're heard, and so people will so the public will understand what grave ramifications healthcare worker vaccine mandates will have on healthcare in the state. The 27 is rolling up. There's also going to be, I think, the penultimate protest and rally is going to be in Albany on the 22nd. So I hope that for those of you who are able to attend, we hope you do. But it's an important rally, and it's certainly going to be the most visible for our legislators, and we hope to show them that this is very unpopular, and we hope that they reconsider their foolish actions. I believe that is where we are at for cherry kind of things. Oh, one other thing. Some of you may have heard independent petitioning got thrown into chaos by a court decision. The mayor of Buffalo, who got primaried out by a far left candidate, passed independent petitionings outside of the petitioning threshold, handed them in. The Erie County Board of Elections promptly rejected them. He filed a
Did Cody freeze for everyone else?
I think you cut out.
Yes,
Okay.
the government's trying to shut down and telling the truth.
It's the NSA. It's those those in Erie County.
Maybe he went over the allotted time.
He went
Don't tell
over
him
the
I said that, though.
This is live on Facebook.
Oh crap! That means he'll know.
No one watches the reruns.
So he just left.
It means
So
Tony's
he's
in
probably
charge.
restarting.
Tony.
Yeah, I guess I'm in charge now.
Right.
Let's stand at ease for a couple minutes while Cody comes back, because I think he'll want to finish his statement.
Mhm.
And it's very important, but everything he's saying is very important. And I want to thank everybody for their hard work they've done on everything around the state. The protests, work on public outreach, everything. I'm really proud of this party. I'm really proud of everything you've done. We got a lot of great things coming. With that, let's stand at ease for a couple minutes.
What's the name of the LPNY YouTube channel?
Libertarian Party of New York.
Do I have to spell libertarian? Just kidding.
I will try searching it. If I do LPNY, it does not come up.
That's correct. That's what I was wondering.
But if you search Libertarian Party of New York, it will come up.
There we are. Just kidding.
I will try searching it. If I do Oh, well, we got a new subscriber.
That was me.
I know. We are up to 59 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Those are big numbers.
Only 10 more.
Cody is on his way back. I've been in contact with our chair. Cody is on his way back in now, so we can resume with the meeting. If he has trouble getting back in, we can move on to the next agenda item, which is the adoption of the agenda and special rules of order. But I figured I'd give him a minute more.
We are up to 63 subscribers. We had 5 subscribers tonight. I've also posted this on Facebook, so thank you for subscribing. For those watching on the internet as we wait.
And if you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Because everyone wants to watch a business meeting. I have just promoted Mike Arcati.
Andrew, could you send me the link? I have Angelo on the line with me. He said he didn't get the email. If you email it to me, I'll email it to him, if that's possible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll send. Yeah, I'll send it on I'll send it to him on Facebook too.
Okay, I'll tell him to look for it there. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you what. While you're doing that, I think Cody's having a little bit more technical difficulty, so why don't we move on to the next thing of the agenda, so we're all done with it when he gets back. The adoption of the agenda and special rules of order. Mr. Colsey, I believe that's you, right?
All right. Just for the record, I see Angelo Veltri is here
Excellent.
as well, so that brings up our numbers.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. I don't know what happened. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, he's back. All right,
I'm
great.
back. Sorry about that. So independent petitioning. So essentially, independent petitioning thresholds open. That's all. I think Dwayne was probably filling you in on the rest.
He was?
No,
I don't know.
Dwayne was not.
I don't know what it was.
We figured you just pieced out and we're done, so we moved on to the adoption of the agenda and special rules of order, but we literally
Well,
just.
that's fine. We can go ahead and do that. Let me switch back to Porcupine. I do not know what happened there.
I thought we moved on to old business.
Well, you know what? That would be awesome if we did.
You are old business, Sean.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm heading back to my mic line. All right, there we go. So here we are. My piece being done, we are moving on to adoption of special rules of order. Do we have a motion to accept the special rules of order?
We have the agenda too.
And the agenda. Sorry, the agenda. 1 second. Hold on.
Okay, I will share my page.
Thank you very much.
Screen. All right, here it is.
Sorry, that threw me into chaos. Sorry about that, guys. All right, thank you. So we are going to adopt the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Would you, would somebody be able to make that via Porcupine? Actually, was that Mr. Van Helmond?
Yes, it was.
Okay, it was. Well, since you're dialed in, I'll accept that over the phone. Thank you, Mr. Durazio, second.
Thank you.
Do we have any discussion? Being no discussion, all in favor of adopting the.
Who seconded that?
That's Tony.
Okay.
It was Mr. Van Helmond over the phone and Mr. Durazio via Porcupine.
Yeah.
There being no discussion, all in favor of adopting special rules of, adopting the agenda as presented, please say aye. Please, we're going to vote on it. Well, without objection, we'll adopt the agenda. No objection, the agenda is adopted. So we will move on to the adoption of the special rules of order. Do we have a, can I get a motion to adopt the special rules of order, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Haggerty. We're going to try and do this through Porcupine, but thank you. We'll accept that orally. Mr. Durazio, second. Do we have any discussion? Without objection, we shall adopt the special rules of order. Do we have any objections? Very good. Special rules of order are adopted. Moving on to the next item in the agenda. Moment, please. I have two screens and it's still not enough. We're now going to fill vacancies on the state committee. We're going to fill them as usual in order of judicial district, starting with Judicial District 1. We have a vacancy, but I don't believe we have any nominations that were submitted ahead of time. Do we have any nominations from the floor for Judicial District 1? Hearing no nomination, we'll move on to Mr. Colsey. Are you raising your hand?
Yeah, we usually submit the pre-nominations as a whole before going to each district.
Very well. I have no objection to that. Let's go. Would you mind go ahead and presenting the pre-nominations? So we have, I guess we have Judicial District 1. We have no nominations yet.
Right.
Go ahead, Mr. Kolsky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have John Gunther in JD 10 is nominated by Carrie Denoyne, and then Freddie Kelvac nominated by Robert Glomboski, and they both accepted a nomination. And those two nominations I'd like to enter into the official nominations.
Very good. Without objection, we'll accept those into nomination. Judicial District 1, I believe we sought nominations. We do not have any nominations from the floor. Is that correct? Anyone? Okay, not hearing any nominations from for Judicial District 1 vacancy. We'll move on to JD 10. Do we have any nominations from the floor for the vacancy in Judicial District 10?
Yes. If you look in Porcupine, you're going to find one.
I do. I'm looking at the mic line right now, and it just popped up. Mr. Durazio, you have a nomination.
I nominate James Harris.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Durazio. Is Mr. Harris here to accept the nomination?
He has indicated to me that he will accept the nomination, and I have forwarded him the Zoom link.
Okay. Is he in the participants in the attendee list? Mr. Colsey?
I have not seen him come in yet.
I would like to afford him the opportunity, but I'd like to move the business along. I'm willing to move on to JD 12 and wait for Mr. Harris to show up. Do we have any while we wait for Mr. Harris to join us? Mr. Wells, I assume that you did not have no problem. I understand. Do we have any nominations from the floor for the vacancy in Judicial District 12? Does not appear we do. I've not seen any nominations in the mic line. So we will have, if you would please promote Mr. Calvash to the panelist. Is it and if you promote him, I will also ask for a point of information to get the proper proper pronunciation of his last name. Freddie, are you with us? Freddie, are you with us? There you are. Hi. Would you unmute yourself? Just point of information, sir. How do you pronounce your last name?
Oh yeah, it's Cavace.
Cavace. Thank you very much. I almost could have guessed that, but thank you for clarifying. Mr. Cavace, we give all judicial district nominees, or I should say state committee nominees, a minute to give a brief stump speech. Do you care to say any words on your behalf?
Yes, my name is Freddie Cavace. I was born in New Jersey. At the age of 1, my parents decided to move to the Bronx, and we ended up in Claremont, the Claremont area of the Bronx. Then we moved to Throgsville when I was in my late 20s. Been here ever since, and just a regular working class Joe. I'm a HVAC technician. And the way I was introduced to the Liberty movement was about maybe I guess 2 years ago when Larry Sharp was running for governor. And it was very interesting what he was saying about, what's going on in New York. Then I went deeper into the rabbit hole with libertarianism, stumbled into Ron Paul, which I remember hearing him during the elections, and I got deeper into what he was saying, and it was very interesting, very mind-opening. And then later on, started reading Rafa, and again, then I started.
Mr. Galvache, I apologize. With apologies, your time has expired. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I accept, and I'm here. Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you, Mr. Galvache.
You got it.
So, being no further nominees from JD12, we'd like to put this to a secret ballot. Mr. Seacrest, if you could please prepare a ballot with Mr. Galvache and none of the above as specified by our rules.
How long would you like the ballot for?
I think 1 minute will suffice.
Point of information.
Mr. Geraci.
Robert Greibesland, and there's a few other attendees who are present. I'm not sure which of these are on the state committee, but I know Robert is.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Kolsky, if you would promote Mr. Carr and Mr. Grievesland, and also for the record, Mr. Veltri has joined us as well. Good evening, Mr. Veltri.
Good evening.
Yes, they both need to accept the invite. I see Jay Carr and
Mr. Carr, please click on the button. Mr. Carr. I believe Mr. Kolsky has elevated you to panelist. You just have to look for that window and click on it and say, I agree. We will proceed and hope Mr. Carr gets his situation worked out. That being said, I think we have Mr. Grievesland has been promoted and he is now in the meeting. Mr. Grievesland, are you there?
I'm here.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you. All right. Ballot is out. Who shall fill the vacancy in JD 12?
If I may intervene, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Van Helmond.
Yes, I know I don't have the computer on my call. And
Oh,
I don't want
yes.
to be a nuisance. Should I vote and text it to you or to Andrew if it is necessary?
If without objection, if you wouldn't mind texting it to Mr. Kolsky, that would be appropriate.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ten seconds left. Please cast your vote if you have not cast it already. Ballot is done. Who should fill the vacancy in JD 12? It would appear Mr. Calvache has received 38 votes. One vote for Nota. Mr. Calvash, welcome to the State Committee. Thank you for your expected service.
Thank you.
Mr. Calvache,
Appreciate it.
I apologize. I
It's
see
all
it
right.
how I
It's
see
all
it
right.
how I see it. I have it written down on a piece of paper here, so I don't forget. Mr. Calvache is also working to be our county contact in the Bronx, so we can get that organization reconstituted. So thank you in advance for doing that.
No problem.
All right, we'll return to the JD10. Has Mr. Harris joined us yet?
He has not, but he's been set the link, but I do have a record that he did accept.
Very good. Then, if you would promote Mr. Gunther to panelist. Mr. Gunther, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, Mr. Gunther. If you would please, if you care to, you may provide a 1-minute statement to the committee, and your time starts now.
Yeah, my name is John Gunther. I'm the Nassau County Libertarian Chairman. I'm a two-time candidate for the Libertarian Party here locally, and I am an activist who has been striving across Nassau County to get the liberty message spread across. I've been part of local protests, got news coverage from them. I got with other groups like William said earlier. We made coalitions. We're joining coalitions. I made coalitions between the Nassau, Suffolk, and the Queen's Party to further push our movement and help each other out. So I have done lots of things that will help and that will do and help the spread of liberty across Nassau County, Long Island, and the state. So that's a little bit of background for me. And that's it. You guys heard me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr.
Just
Gunther,
appreciating
your
the
time is
background
up.
music.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Whoever's larger, please mute. Does someone need to take their birth control?
Give me one moment here. And now my timer has gone berserk. Please hold.
Is that William or Cody?
That's Cody. That's not William.
I can tell that it's Cody. You can tell by the guilty look on his face.
Oh, they were
Just
both
wanna make
lining
that-
up.
I want to make that crystal clear. It's Cody.
Is that William or is that Cody? The answer is yes.
Ooh, good one.
Oh, hey, Tony, easy now.
Is Cody having technical difficulties again?
Sorry about that. I had a Windows timer running and it went berserk. I apologize. To think I do this for a living. Mr. Gunther, thank you very much. I apologize for
No problem. Thank you.
cutting you short. Has Mr. Harris joined us to give any kind of statement?
Yes, he is. I just need to change. All right. Yes, he is here. Jim is here.
All right. Mr. Harris, are you with us?
He's on mute.
Mr. Harris, are you with us?
Okay, he just left.
All right, we're gonna have to move on with the business here. Mr. Seacrest, if you could please create a secret ballot for the JD10 vacancy containing Mr. Gunther, Mr. Harris, and Nota. That would be awesome. And now I'm switching back to Porcupine. And 1 minute would be fine, Mr. Seacrest.
Oh, it's up.
Oh, it's already up. Never mind. We're down to 45 seconds.
For the record, Jim Harris is back in here.
Very good. We are voting. It's
Just a friendly reminder to everybody, please only vote once. Voting multiple times delays the system. Mr. Durazio.
Also, for the record, I see that Bill Schmidt is present as well.
ballot has expired. Results have been released. Mr. Gunther has received 31 votes. Nota has received 8 votes. Mr. Harris has received 2 votes. Write-in Fire Grindle for 1 vote. Mr. Gunther, welcome to the state. Welcome to the state committee.
Thank you.
Hang around. It's going to get a whole lot more interesting. I promise. All right, back to the agenda. We have having filled the vacancies in JD's 10 and 12 and not having any nominees.
Cody,
Yes,
there's a
ma'am.
message from Jay Carr that says he doesn't see anything to accept. Is he on?
It looks like he's in Zoom. It looks like he's in Zoom. We see him. I don't know what.
He
has
not.
a message in the chat that he doesn't see anything from you, Andrew, to accept the invitation.
Jay,
I have given the invitation several. I just keep doing that until he sees it.
Jay,
Looks like he saw it.
Jay, if you can hear me, just exit out of the meeting and rejoin it, please. And then once you rejoin, Andrew will send you the promotion.
I'm in.
Oh, there he is. Never mind.
Thank you.
Magically, mystically. Don't thank me. I didn't do a thing. Very good. All right, we're going back to the agenda. Having filled what vacancies we can, we are now moving.
Should I promote those 2 people to be able to vote, sir?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We'll just take a quick pause while Mr. Ferreira.
I can take care of it while you continue.
Okay, that's great. We're not going to be voting for a couple minutes, so I think that'll be fine. Thank you, sir. We now move to the primary purpose of this meeting, which is for platform committee. I turn the floor over to Dr. Brayman.
Thank you. It's early, and I appreciate everybody else moving along so quickly and for giving us some attention to be able to present the platform more completely. So to review what we got done last time, we did pass one individual platform plank, which, excuse me, Andrew, if you have the platform committee report and want to post it, or else I can look it up, but
yeah, I'm working on that.
So we can introduce what I think to be the most important use of our time, which is to continue and present a more general discussion of what we want for the generalities of our platform. Our existing platform is more a statement of principles, which lists a certain number of rights instead of actual advocacy points for the platform. Since I have been a member of the platform committee, and on and off, that has been since the interim state committee was in existence and appointed me in along with 2 or 3 others in April of 2019. Excuse me, April of 2020. I have been advocating for some more specifics in the platform. Let me give you an example of the kinds of reaction that I have gotten to some of the specifics. I was staffing the platform table with Dr. Glogowski, staffing the LPNY table at the State Fair with Dr. Glogowski. And he was engaged in a good 20-30 minute conversation with a 20-year-old about whether or not this 20-year-old could be convinced to join the LPNY, to register as an LPN, as a libertarian. And I overheard some reticence from him. What was there about the party that should attract him? And he wasn't, Dr. Glogowski, I hate to say, was not making all that much traction, pulling him over the finish line. I went to mention some of the potential platform planks that we were discussing. I brought up the cannabis plank, which we voted down last time, because it was again, I think a lot of people felt it was not the goal to put in specifics. This young man was interested in that, but it wasn't enough to pull him over the finish line. I brought up the next item, which is the one that I hope we will discuss. I expect to discuss next, which is about the setting an age of 18 for the maximum age for adult activities to be permitted by law in the state of New York. And you should have seen his eyes light up. You should have seen his eyes light up. He was totally excited by that idea. This is what I think a good platform can do. It can pull people into the party that are turned off not necessarily by the party, but by politics in general. The existing Democrat and Republican Party don't take a firm stand on many of these questions that we have. A lot of if you look at our existing platform, it talks about rights of individuals, but it never talks about what constitutes an individual. Is an 18-year-old an individual? Under current New York state law, 18-year-olds can't smoke cannabis, they can't smoke nicotine, they can't buy vaping products, they can't purchase a handgun. There's many things that 18-year-olds cannot do under current state law. We could rope in a very large fraction of voters by taking a firm stand. This was the approach that the Libertarian, the Platform Committee took over the last 7 months that I've been chair, was to find issues where we can distinguish ourselves from the Democrat and Republican Party and also be very united. I believe that the discussion that we had last time on the potential cannabis plank indicated that nobody was voting against the wording of it. Nobody was voting against the sentiment of it. They were voting against being specific in our platform. I think that that overall approach of refusing to be specific I understand why people want to give candidates more freedom or complete freedom to choose their own platform. But we tried to, in the platform committee, to choose platform planks that could only help candidates. We have now put together a set of rules that says who can be candidates for the Libertarian Party. We're reducing the likelihood that people will get an certificate of authorization. We added into our rules that people who are candidates should also espouse the values of the Libertarian Party as stated in our platform. So we now have control over the platform. We have seen examples of where people from the Republican or Democrat Party tried to get our line just by claiming that they espoused our principles, but they don't have very much specifics in what those principles are. We even saw an example of one of the highest elected officials in the state, the district attorney of Broome County, Mike Korchak, get elected on the Libertarian line and then proceed to take a stand in favor of enforcement of cannabis laws. I know that Chris Zelensky can speak more to that. That offended him. If we don't take a firm description of what we want, we do run the risk that candidates will go off the road, off the rails, and that we won't have an identity as a Libertarian Party. So this was our goal as a platform committee, was to give ourselves the identity. And the first thing that people can turn to when they go onto our website is the platform. They can see what we stand for as a party, not just as a few individual candidates, not as a chair or an executive committee or people being sent to a demonstration, but that the party as a whole is behind this.
Dr. Brain, with apologies, we have a motion to suspend the rules from Mr. Calvache. Mr. Calvache, do you care to speak to your motion? Oh, well, I'm sorry. We have a motion to suspend the rules from Mr. Calabache. Somebody wanted to
No,
second?
no, sorry. I was looking at the app. I'm new to
Okay,
it. So
okay.
I hit it by accident.
And was your objection also incorrect?
Yes, yes. I was
Okay,
just,
very good.
new
Thank
to
you.
it. Sorry about that.
Thank you. And Dr. Brayman, this is sort of a moment of personal privilege. I appreciate you. I appreciate this. If I'd like to try and move to the business at hand, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So with that introduction having been offered, I thank you for your time. We're still 10 minutes ahead of where I expected to start the platform discussion. I would like to offer, which is it is number, Andrew, are you sharing that?
Yeah, I'm now that you're at that, I'm sharing the screen.
Okay, it is proposal number 4, new platform plank proposal D. Require that the legal age for any adult activity regulated by the state not exceed 18. Once individuals are considered to have adequate judgment to vote and to serve on a jury or in the military, they should be considered to have sufficient judgment to decide their own purchase and use of alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and other potentially risky activities. I think I have taken enough time, and it should be open to other people.
Very good. So I would ask for a motion to accept this, is it, we're on proposal.
Coming out of committee, I don't think there needs to be a separate motion.
Well,
I
think there is no motion right now, unless you made it, unless that was your motion.
That is the motion coming out of committee.
Very good. So coming out of committee, we do not need a second. Do we have any discussion about this? Mr. Arrigo would like to speak against. Mr. Arrigo.
Can you guys see me?
Yes.
And hear me? Okay, thank you very much. So I appreciate Mr. Bremen's discussion there in the beginning. I'm going to speak against this and really the entire idea of a platform, a specific platform in general. I understand what Mr. Bremen thinks, that it's going to lead to more people joining, but where he sees inclusivity, I see exclusivity. I see it turning into, and I think this is pretty much in Mark's own words, a litmus test on what is and what is not a libertarian. And I think that is not a really good idea. I mean, we can't agree amongst ourselves on many of these issues. The idea that we're going to create a litmus test standard for everybody else, I think is a bad idea. So I only speak against, I'm not going to speak against every amendment, but I'll just say this once. I think a better idea is to update our statement of principles to maybe include what we mean by individual and so on and so forth. I think that becomes more inclusive. And if you want to get specific on where candidates stand on issues or where we stand, we should have what's called a legislative agenda. And then you would use some type of method to get the candidate on record as to where they stand in regarding to our legislative agenda. But to do this in platform, to make it cumbersome and hard to change, to make it specific, to make it exclusive, is not really good, I think, for bringing in people to our party. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rigo. Mr. Darachi, speak for.
Thank you. So with regards to proposal 4, I would say that this isn't exclusionary at all. This is something that really sets us apart from any party, where we define right here, right now, what an adult is essentially. And to vote against this, I think, would be frankly absurd, because this is something that would raise a bunch of eyes. I think that would get people, especially youth, interested in our party, and we do need to bring more youth into our party. And this specific platform plank is exactly how to do that. Now, I know there is some concern about candidates having, their own platform that may go against certain specific platform planks, and that some planks could be seen as exclusionary, but I don't think that applies to this plank. I think that any candidate who claims to be libertarian would somehow say otherwise with regards to this plank and say that no, 18 is not the age, that no, you have to wait until you're 21 to smoke a cigarette or have a beer, but you can go to war, end up maimed or killed with PTSD. And I don't know that we don't have any business supporting such a candidate. I think that they may need to rethink for themselves whether or not they are actually a libertarian. That's, of course, a question for that person alone to decide. But no, I think this does a great job of setting us apart. I think it does an excellent job of attracting youth to our party and could turn some heads. And therefore, I urge everybody to vote in favor of this plan.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Geraci. We have Mr. Durazio calling the question. I believe we have a couple speaking for. So I just want to get those out, and then we can, if without objection, I'd like to move to a vote after that. Dr. Glogowski, speak for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am very in favor of this motion. I have seen the effect of it on this individual who happened to come to the booth at the fair. I have also experienced during the campaigns, I've campaigned 4 times for New York State Assembly. During the campaign, the more specific I got, the more people paid attention. Generalities usually don't convince anyone to do anything. I would like to see the platform become very specific and very unique to libertarians. I don't think there's a single libertarian out there that disagrees with what we've said. Making it more general so that you can squeeze a whole bunch of non-specific items into it, some of which we will disagree with, I think that's the wrong way to go. So I would very definitely support the adoption of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glogowski. In the spirit of hearing opposing points of view, we're going to skip ahead to Mr. Lyons speaking against the motion. Mr. Lyon, you're recognized.
Hi. So while I perfectly support this as an idea, if I had a position of authority, I would definitely put this forward. And someone mentioned earlier that, you know, no real libertarian would be against this and for going to war at 18 if you had to wait till 21 to smoke a cigarette. But I do think that there are some people out there that differ on what the age should be, even if they believe that should be constant, you know, across the board. I've even heard some people float the idea of lowering it to 16. I think putting a definite age on it could turn some people off. Some people that might think 19 or 20, some people that might think 16 or 17. I think just having it be constant across the board would be better. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. Mr. Grievous-Lind, you're recognized to speak for the motion. Mr. Grievous-Lind. You are recognized. We're moving past. I cannot hear you, Mr. Grievous-Lind. You appear to be muted.
Am I up right now?
Yes, but your audio is choppy.
All right, hold on. Am I better now?
That not much. And it still says you're muted.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Point of information.
Yes, point of information.
To be able to speak on, because obviously this is my first meeting being active, to be able to speak on a issue to get called on, do I just raise my hand or do I?
Sorry, Mr. Gunther. Yes, for the new state committee members, Mr. Gunther and Mr. Cavace, we actually use an app called Porcupine for parliamentary procedure. That includes getting in the mic line, making motions, things like that. In the state committee email the latest one that you received, I think it was this afternoon or this morning, 11 o'clock this morning, there is a link to Porcupine in there. You'll have to register. You have to register for Porcupine if you haven't already, using the email address that you provided to the secretary, and then set up a password, then reset your password the first time you log in.
Yeah, I did that. I'm good.
Okay.
I believe I did that. Let me see if I can, it shows any of that stuff that I can do. But you can proceed while I check.
All right, thank you. I will do so.
I apologize. Can I try my mic one more time?
You are much better, Mr. Grievous-Lind. Please proceed.
All right, thank you. I'd like to speak for this motion. I think that it is absolutely necessary that we do have some parts that set us apart from the other parties. I am not opposed to being more exclusive. I think that that's something that actually needs to start happening. I do believe that the 18-year-old age limit is something that's been around for a long time, and until somebody wants to change that, I think it should be set forth that way. And I do believe that it's very difficult to talk to people and get people.
You cut out there, Mr. Grievousland.
I think we lost him.
All right, I'm Mr. Grievousland. Thank you, and I apologize. I'm going to move on to the next speaker. I have Ms. Miller. Ms. Miller speaking for and against. I'd rather hear her against for an opposing viewpoint. What is your pleasure, Ms. Miller?
So I'm for it because I am for attracting a younger audience and also speaking. It's strategic to do it that way. Okay, the way it's the idea behind it is strategic, and I'm for that 100%. What I'm against, I agree with the gentleman who spoke earlier. It's too specific. Right now, I agree that just somehow write it so that it basically, I'm for aligning the age of conscription, just in general, the age of majority. Whatever the age of majority is, that should be the age that even though we don't believe in conscription, but that's, all of the laws around age and what is considered to be adult activities or benefits or whatever need to all be aligned to whatever the age of majority is. Okay, so if it's and that way it's not legislation that we're pushing forward, but it's an actual platform plank that can exist forever. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm against it. It needs to be, I believe, rewritten in order to be a platform plank as opposed to a piece of legislation or a legislation idea.
So it sounds like you're speaking against the plank. Is that correct?
As written, but for it in terms of, I do think that is a good plank to add. The gist of it is a good plank to add, but I agree that it needs to be rewritten so that it's more general and can stand the test of time and legislation changing over time.
All right, very good. Thank you, Ms. Miller. Mr. Veltri, speak for the motion. And after Mr. Veltri, I apologize. I'm going to cut off debate after Mr. Veltri. I think we've heard a lot of speaking for the motion, so I think we'll move on past the to the vote after this. Continue, Mr. Veltri. I apologize.
So pretty much from the way that I see it, I know I'm new here. I just want to get my ideas out there as well. But at 16 years old, you can be tried as an adult. So by the time that you are 18 years old, you'll be graduating high school. You'll be making decisions based on your own life experiences for your own life, whether you want to go off to college, whether you want to join the military. And if you do choose the route of joining the military, you are legally allowed to hold the gun at the head of the enemy, So if you're able to hold a gun to the enemy's head, whoever that enemy may be declared by the United States, then you should be able to hold it against an enemy by defending your own property and your property being yourself. As well as many people that I've talked to my age believe that is quite ridiculous that they're not allowed to use certain substances or restricted from going to certain places such as bars, certain restaurants, nightclubs, as well as just being able to enjoy free liberty of being able to put in your own body and hold whatever you would like to, as long as you are not harming anybody else. Most people my age, in my age bracket and category, do believe that these type of laws are very restrictive on liberty. So I feel like that would do a great favor of bringing people who are younger into the party.
Sorry, very good. Thank you, Mr. Veltri.
May I have one more point of information?
I'm sorry. Who made that?
Gunther.
Mr. Gunther, are you sorry? Are you in Porcupine yet?
I'm in Porcupine, but it's saying my credentials aren't recognized.
Okay, so you have to set. So you probably just try to reset your password. Mr. Gunther, what email address are you using so TJ can check and confirm?
John
Mr.
Gunther.
Gunther.
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat.
I've sent you a direct message. You're in with a different email address. Check your direct messages in Zoom.
Yeah, let me see.
Great, thank you, Mr. Furrow. Mr. Russell would like to speak against, and since we've had a shortage of those, we'll have Mr. Russell speak against. Mr. Russell, the floor is yours.
Let me see if I can find the unmute here.
Thank you, Mr. Russell.
I can give an example of where it can, more specificity is not necessarily a good thing. I discussed it with my dad, who's a lifelong Republican, but he leans towards libertarian. So he looked at it and said, why weed? Why just weed? Why, if we're going to eliminate all this taxation and stuff, why weed? Why not stuff I sell at my store? Why not anything else? It's too specific on that. It makes it sound like we're just weed heads kind of thing. Why not just stick to our principles and say across the board, we want this policy as it applies to all these things. And then in person, we could say it, but going just for one thing seems like we're just focused on that one thing and we're ignoring all the other things that should go with our principles. And we're drawing too narrow of a net when it could be much larger. So I think instead of drawing more people in, we're actually narrowing our net instead of making it bigger. So thank you.
All right, very good. Mr. Smith, you'd like to speak for the motion.
You should look at your queue, Mr. Chair.
I see your chair. I addressed you before, Mr. D'Orazio. I'm trying to get some debate on the topic. I know you would like to move. You'd like to call the question.
The question's been called.
I have a different point of order.
All right, Mr. D'Orazio has called the question. I was trying to get some debate in. I will recognize Mr. D'Orazio's calling of the question. I believe we need a second for that.
Mr. Chair, I have a different.
Mr. D'Orazio, we have a motion on the floor to call the question.
Mr. Chair, the point of order is an interrupting motion.
Give me a moment. I understand it's an interrupting motion. I was trying to get Mr. D'Orazio to extend me the courtesy of getting some debate on the topic. So Mr. D'Orazio has insisted. We're going to call the question. It looks like Mr. Haggerty has seconded the call to question. This is non-debatable. We will move to a vote. Mr. Seacrest, if you could please create a poll.
Who's calling of the question of what was?
Tony called the question. Mr. Haggerty seconded it.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, you want the vote for shall we adopt the platform or calling the question?
This is calling the question.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, what email is it that contains the porcupine link? Because I can't find it.
It was an email that got sent out at 11 o'clock this morning, Millie, to all state committee members.
Okay, thank you.
Poll is out. Shall we call the question?
I'm figuring out porcupine, but in the meantime, can I send my vote to Tulsi if that's?
Yes, please send your vote to Mr. Kolsky on calling the question.
I apologize, but I did not receive that email. It is not in my email account.
What time is it? Let me see here. Hold on.
It's in the chat.
Yeah, you just put it in the Zoom chat, Millie.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, polls complete. Shall we call the question? With 18 ayes, 21 nays, 2 abstentions, motion fails. We're now going to continue debate on the
Mr. Chair,
question.
point of order.
Mr. Droche is just switching back to Porcupine. I see your point of order. What is your point of order?
The last person to speak against the motion seemed to be arguing against proposal 3, but the motion relates to proposal 4 and therefore is not germane to this motion. And I ask the state committee to disregard it.
Well, I think that he was making a more general statement, Mr. Droche. I believe that was Mr. Russell, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was making more. I think he was making a more general comment about specificity of specific ones. But your point is noted. Thank you, Mr. Smith. If you'd like to speak for the motion.
Yes. I just want to mention, yeah, I absolutely am for the motion. I believe some great arguments on both sides, but I think differentiating ourselves by setting a definite age is important. I think ultimately I have one concern. I know this is not the place. The motion is as written, but I am concerned that it mentions these as risky activities. And I feel like, frankly, as the motion begins, require the legal age for any adult activity regulated by the state. I believe it should end that way. I believe a Democrat or a Republican would call those activities risky. Otherwise, I do support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hager, so you've asked to call the question again. Do you want to do this again? We just had a vote. The body seemed to wish to have debate. I'll call the question if you like. Or look for a second. Mr. Haggerty. Mr. Haggerty. All right, I'm going to have one speak against, and we'll entertain Mr. Haggerty's call the question. Mr. Remian, speak against.
Why do we need to have a platform proposal that's more specific than this national platform? It's really, why aren't we just going after the state and working on that? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Remian. Mr. Haggerty, I'm going to entertain your motion to call the question. Do we have a second for Mr. Haggerty's motion?
Second.
Please use Porcupine. Who seconded? Mr. Grindle has seconded. Motion is non-debatable. Mr. Seacrest, please create a poll to call the question.
Poll is up.
Thank you. Poll is up. Please vote. Shall we call the question? Everybody, please mute your microphone if they're not recognized. Please and thank you. Poll is complete. Shall we call the question? 32 ayes, 10 nays, 3 abstentions. The motion carries. The question has been called. Mr. Seacrest, if you could please create a poll question. Shall we adopt platform proposal 4? Just a reminder, the state committee platform planks require a 2/3 vote to under our rules to be adopted.
Poll is up.
Thank you. 30 seconds left. Please vote if you have not already. Poll is expired. Shall we adopt platform committee proposal number 4? 22 ayes, 17 nays, 3 abstentions. I believe the motion fails. Did I get that right? Yes, I did.
Correct. It didn't get it 2/3.
Yep, thank you. Very good. Platform proposal 4 is not adopted. Moving on to platform proposal 5, Mr. Brayman, Dr. Brayman, rather. I believe, would you like to make a
Unmute.
motion?
Okay.
Make a motion out of committee?
All right. In the interest of saving everyone's time, I don't think it's possible that any of these subsequent platform planks can reach a 2/3 vote. They are all framed as specific planks. I am willing to go back to the platform committee and discuss trying to reframe the one on age to so that in some ways it is framed as the rights, and to modify our statement of principles in such a way as to incorporate that principle that people above the age of 18 are the individuals that we are referring to. I'm a little bit worried about that excluding rights for people under the age of 18. That one that we just voted down was worded in such a way to make clear that that was not limiting rights to people above the age of 18. It was just that was the age at which all rights should be conferred. But we can work on trying to word that in such a way. I don't think it makes sense to go forward with any of these other planks right now. I don't know if the chair feels that way. The chair could call for people to move them if they want to. We do have one last item of business from the platform committee, and that is the one plank that we did approve last time by 2/3 vote. In order to become part of our full platform, we have to take a vote on the platform as it stands. So that proposal number 1 would have to be incorporated into the full platform, and then we would have to have a vote on that. So I don't know if we need a few minutes for the secretary to type that up as a complete proposal for the full platform, and then move that. What do the chair and secretary think about that?
I think it needs to. I think the whole thing should probably go back to committee, honestly, Mark. And at that point, it can become part of whatever platform amendments, rather you want to come up with.
Well, the platform committee did get a vote of 2/3 on that first item that we proposed that we passed in July. And our rules state that there should be a vote on the entire platform after any one plank has gotten a 2/3 vote. So I think that's in order now, but.
Well, I think what you're doing is you're proposing to put one plank into make the platform the one plank. And
No. We're proposing to add that and then re-vote on the entire platform as it exists with that amendment.
I'm not clear on what you're trying to do, because I think it's basically you have one plank that stands alone. I think it's going to come.
We did vote on it. We voted 2/3 on it in July.
I understand. So what do you?
And our rules state that after any platform planks are supported individually, then there must be a 2/3 vote on the entire platform, including the amended plank.
But
so
I don't.
It's a point of order.
I don't think it would be germane. I mean, if you don't have any other platform planks, I don't think it matters. Mr. Drachi is appealing the ruling of the chair. We can go ahead and do that. Do we have a second for Mr. Darachi's appeal, the ruling of the chair?
I do.
Very good. It is non-debatable, I think. Am I correct about that, Mr. Colstein?
I'm not sure.
Please hold.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Well, I think no, but there's not a motion on the floor. But Mr. Darachi is appealing my ruling that we actually have something to vote on.
I think there is a motion on the floor. The committee has put forth a platform plank that got a 2/3 vote, and now we are moving that the entire platform, including the amendment, be adopted. That is according to our rules. That is according to our party rules.
And I ruled it out of order. Mr. Darachi disagreed. You seconded it, so now we're going to vote on it.
It is debatable, Mr. Chair.
Okay, very good. Let's have some debate. Mr. Arrigo would like to speak against the ruling of the chair, the appeal to the ruling of the chair. Mr. Arrigo.
Sure, why not? Let's just play this game. This is fun. Okay. So I like the look of Cody's disgust on Zoom. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I thought that was apathy. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm not really clear on what's going on. So I'll speak against here. It appears to me that we have currently in place a statement of principles and then a platform plank that was adopted. So are we replacing the statement of principles with one platform plank? No. So we're just adding the one platform plank to the statement of principles. So
Yes.
that's what I really don't understand what we're doing. I think the better idea. I think the better idea is to reject this in entirety, send the rules committee back to work to put together a package that can pass with 2/3 vote, and that includes really updating the statement of principles because that appears to be what can pass. So that would be my idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arrigo. Mr. Darachi, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Oh, no, you could ignore that. That was if it was debatable or not.
Duly ignored. Mr. Kolsky, point of order.
Can you hear me? I don't think this is in order because there wasn't any motion to adopt.
I believe what is happening here, Mr. Kolsky, is that I had Mr. Dr. Brayman tried to make a motion to not even clear what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to vote on this to make it to that the state committee had to approve it. I didn't think so. He thought otherwise, or Mr. Darachi thought otherwise. Dr. Brayman seconded it. So we're right now we're in the appealing the ruling the chair, and we're discussing that.
So that was a motion.
What's that?
That was a motion.
It was Mr. Darachi.
What was the motion?
Mr. Darachi appealed the ruling of the chair. I ruled that the state committee didn't have to vote. Mr. Darachi disagreed. Dr. Brayman seconded, and we are now.
What was the motion that you ruled that is not necessary?
Perhaps Dr. Brayman would like to speak that.
Okay, I'm trying to pull up the rules of the party. Okay.
All I'm asking is what your motion was going to be that I said was out of order.
Because it sounded like he was asking if we could prepare the motion.
No. The motion, there was a motion on a platform plank that passed last time. Our party rules require
17.4 is on the screen.
I'm sorry, what is it?
17.4, it's on my screen. Whoever's sharing their screen, it shows. The 17.4 reads, amendments to the platform shall be placed on the agenda for the full state committee at least twice per year.
No. It's under Article 16. This is what it is. Okay. So it says all those planks which have been approved individually and only such planks shall then constitute the platform which shall take effect as the Libertarian Party platform when approved as a whole by 2/3 vote of the state committee members. Therefore, the plank that we approved individually in our July meeting it can't become part of the platform until the party, the 2/3 vote of the state committee members approves that becoming part of the platform as a whole. That's what I'm moving. I'm moving that approval by the 2/3 vote of the state committee members of the platform, incorporating the individual plank that we approved last time.
Into the platform.
Into the platform, yes.
I think that's out of order, and that's what Mr. Geraci argued with. He appealed my ruling. You seconded it, and we're now discussing it. That was the motion.
My understanding was that he was asking if a motion should be done and if it should be prepared, and you're saying that it shouldn't be prepared. Not that the motion's not necessary. That you're ruling it was out of order to prepare the motion per the rules.
I didn't prepare the motion. I made the motion.
Okay, because you were asking, would it be okay if the chair and secretary make that motion or make that preparation, which I was in the middle of doing before all the chaos. Anyway.
Well, I was asking if you would prepare the platform, including the plank that we approved last time, so that everybody could read it and decide whether or not to vote on it.
Okay, so if I want to get the motion from the screen so we know what we're saying is not necessary, because I'm confused.
I think,
and I'm sure others are.
Dr. Brayman, I'm not sure you're making a really good case. What you are, there is no platform, and I think the planks that you guys propose are what becomes the platform. The plank that you and I'm making an argument here for my ruling is that the plank that you had has literally no way of being integrated with the platform we have.
That is, I don't understand it. It was worded in such a way to be incorporated. It was very clearly worded in such a way to be incorporated.
Well, we'll see what other people have to say about it. Mr. Gunther wants to speak for the appealing of the ruling of the chair.
I withdraw. I want to make a comment on the platform itself. So I'm playing with Porcupine. So sorry.
All right, I'm gonna limit debate to 1 minute without objection on these things. I see a lot of words coming. Mr. Geraci, you'd like to speak for your appeal of the ruling of the chair.
Yes, this motion is absolutely in order. This plank, the plank that we passed in July, does not replace the entire platform. Dr. Brayman's motion is to add it to the platform. That's all his motion does, which is very in order because the state committee meeting is about the platform, and this is the platform committee report. So therefore, it's in order.
Very good. Dr. Oh, are you done? I apologize. Are you done, Mr. Geraci? Thank you.
I'm done.
Dr. Glagowski, would you like to speak against?
Yes, I would like to speak against the ruling of the chair because we do have a platform.
Hold on, Dr. Glagowski, you're speaking against, you're speaking, we're appealing the ruling of the chair. You're either speaking against appealing the ruling or for appealing the ruling. It sounds like you're speaking for appealing the ruling.
Oh, you're right. I'm speaking for the appealing of the ruling and against the ruling. So, yeah.
Very good.
Can I just clarify so I understand here what's going on? Okay, so Mark Brayman's motion is to, since this was passed the last time, but per the rules according to him, that it wasn't fully adopted unless adopted as a whole, which this is the whole platform. So that's Mark Brayman's motion. And then the chair is saying that this is not necessary. Is that correct? What's going on?
I'm just saying it's not in order. I'm just saying it's not in order right now because we haven't approved all the amendments.
Because we haven't finished the platform committee report.
But this, we have finished everything that we're going to present. I've said, with permission of the body, we will withdraw the remaining motions because it appears that they will be dilatory to vote on them, and then move directly to the final part of the report, which is to adopt the things that are going to get adopted. If you look at our platform right now online, it does not include the item that we passed last time, with a 2/3 vote. And the reason that it can't be included in the online platform is because we have not voted as a body to adopt the revised platform as a whole. We have to do that according to our rules. We have to adopt the revised platform as a whole by a 2/3 vote. And that's what I'm calling to do so that we can get the business of this meeting done.
Very good. Mr. Durazio would like to speak for the appeal of the ruling chair. Is that correct?
Correct.
Go ahead.
Dr. Bremen stated it pretty well, but I'll try to state it a little more clearly. Whether we think we did adopt a plank at the July meeting, but did not adopt the full platform, expecting that we would have far more discussion on a full platform at this meeting. It is an existing platform. We did vote to add a plank, but we did not vote to adopt the whole platform. Basically, this is a bookkeeping move. That's all this is, just to add the plank to the existing platform. That's all this is. It's not to replace the platform, not to materially change the platform. It is to add a single plank that we have already voted aye on. Now, it still requires a 2/3 vote. So if it doesn't pass, if people don't feel that it fits in with the platform as it is, then we can vote nay and leave the platform as is. But I think really we should probably get onto a vote on this because it is something that our rules do require. Thank you.
Mr. Olensky, request for information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep, go for it.
I'm not sure if this is a point of order, but it is a request that if we were to go ahead with what Dr. Bremen is proposing right now to adopt what's already been agreed upon, and is it referring the rest of it back to committee to then be presented to us at a later date? My question is that if it is, I don't think we can go ahead and go forward with actually adapting everything as a whole now.
Well, what Dr. Bremen has done is that he has made a decision as a committee chair to not present the rest of the planks and to bring it back to committee. The state committee does not have to vote on it because he hasn't presented anything for them to vote on. So I believe that he's going to bring it back to committee. Does that answer your question?
If it's going to go back to committee and then be represented to us, I think that we would then go forward with adopting it as a whole. And I think it's dilatory to do that now.
That's fine. Well, that's fine. It was more of a point of information we were looking for from you, but that's fine. Mr. Gunther, you've selected withdraw. I'm not sure what that means.
Sorry, I'm playing around with this. Sorry.
Do you not want to speak against the appeal of the ruling of the chair then?
No, I don't want to speak at all.
All right, very good. Mr. Coles, do you request for information?
Yeah, I'm confused. There seems to be two different things we're discussing.
We are currently in the motion to appeal the ruling of the chair. That is
to appeal the ruling of the chair. Is the ruling of the chair that the process of adopting new planks to adopting the platform as a whole is out of order and unnecessary, or the fact that the rest of the platform committee was not considered? Which one?
I'm only speaking to the adoption of the one plank that was approved. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Dr. Bremen, I believe you've already spoken for your motion, or for the appealing of the ruling of the chair. Is that correct?
I've made my points.
For overturning it.
I've made my points.
Thank you. Dr. Glogowski has called the question, and mercifully so. Do we have a second for Dr. Glogowski's? In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to just put it to a vote now. No need to call the question, Dr. Glogowski. Mr. Seacrest, shall we overturn the ruling of the chair regarding the approved platform plank? Or I should say platform plank 1, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Colstead, could you put that back up on? Am I correct? Is that platform plank
the motion would be?
Hold on. Wait a second.
Or no, wait.
Let's be clear. Shall we overturn the ruling of the chair And I just want which platform regarding the
adoption of the platform as a whole with the additional amendment, the right to decide.
Correct.
So it would be to whether or not to
this is just for shall we overturn the ruling of the chair on, and all I want is the platform plank numbers. The platform plank 1, just flip to the proposed.
Well, it's no
platform.
longer 1. It's
Okay,
it's
what is it?
it's now part of a draft platform. So the motion is the entire platform with the inclusion of what we had adopted last time.
Yes. No, that was my motion.
Okay.
That was my motion.
That's fine.
Okay, so to whether or not that should be in order.
Correct. Shall we overturn the ruling of the chair to adopt the platform to include the adopted plank?
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Seacrest?
Can you please check what I just sent you and confirm?
Yeah. Is it in? Yeah, hang on.
You gentlemen herded your cats very nicely.
Not really. Give me a moment.
Well, nobody got irate or anything.
That's what you think. One moment.
I remember the Blake days.
While
shall we? So, Mr. Seacrest, shall we overturn the ruling of the chair regarding the adoption regarding the adoption of the platform to include the already adopted plank? Do you get that? Shall we overturn the ruling of the chair regarding the adoption of the? Shall we overturn the ruling of the chair regarding the adoption of the platform to include the adopted plank? Correct. And this is not about the adoption of the platform. This is about the overriding the ruling of the chair.
The poll is up.
Thank you.
And just for the record, I have seen that Gary Popkin has joined us, so I have included him in the list of attendees.
Thank you, Mr. Goldstein. Shall we overturn the ruling of the chair regarding the adoption of the platform? 24 ayes, 13 nays, 5 abstentions. Mr. Kolsky, is this a 2/3 or is this a majority? The Roberts index is not being very accommodating. I apologize.
It'd be under, I think, appeal.
Yeah, I looked at appeal.
I looked at overturn.
Majority. It's majority.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, ruling of chair is overridden. We return to Dr. Brayman's motion. Shall we adopt the proposal? Shall we adopt the platform to include the already adopted platform plank? I believe that is Dr. Bremen. I don't think that, just to be safe, I'm not sure it's out of committee. I think you may have been making as a body member. So do we have a second to Dr. Bremen's? Do we have a second to Dr. Bremen's motion?
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
It was out of committee, and if it wasn't out of committee, making a ruling on that would have been out of order because there wasn't a second.
No, that's well, okay, that's fine. We've gotten seconds, but since it's out of committee, Mr. Colstein, then we don't need a second. Thank you, Mr. Drachi, Mr. Drazio. Do we have any debate on this?
So I have asked to speak.
Yep, I see that. Dr. Bremen would like to speak for this motion.
So again, I gave you the rules that say that a platform item that has received 2/3 vote doesn't become part of our platform officially until the entire platform is again voted on. This seems a little bit redundant because we only had one item that was added. The only thing that we may have a little bit of discussion about is where to add this in our platform. I would assume that this should go at the very end of the list of rights. But that should be open to amendment if anybody feels that it belongs somewhere else.
So we are voting to adopt the platform to include the adopted plank.
At the end, added at the end of the list of rights.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Bremen. Do we Mr. Denicky would like to speak for Mr. Drachi? I see you're calling the question. We haven't had any debate on this yet, so I'm going to postpone it until we had appropriate debate and speaking for and against. Mr. Denicky.
Thank you. I know only one piece of the plank passed and is added, and maybe that seems not enough, but I think it's very important because this mentions health and it's very timely with all of the mandates going on in terms of vaccination and everything else, that we not hesitate to add this and get this published right away and come out strongly as the Libertarian Party against mandates and for people to have the right to decide what to do in regards to their own health, especially in regards to vaccination. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Denicky. Mr. Gunther, request for information.
I just want to be clear. So we're voting on to accept the one platform with the current, I want to use the keyword current platform, not the new platform.
That's correct.
We're
Okay.
integrating the already approved plank into the existing platform. All right. Mr. Walensky, I see you want to commit or refer this to committee. It came out of committee, so I think that's out of order. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this motion? Very good. We'll put it to a vote. Mr. Sechrist, you can please create a poll. Shall we adopt the platform amendment? Adopt the platform to include the amendment passed by the previously passed by this by the body.
Poll is up.
Thank you. Please vote. "20 seconds. Please vote if you have not. Polls expired. Shall we adopt the platform to include the amendment previously passed by the body? 30 ayes, 11 nays, 1 abstention. It would appear the motion is passed. Thank you. And I believe you have nothing else to present. Is that correct, Dr. Brandon?
That's correct. I would like to save us all time. I don't think it makes sense. I mean, people see what's there.
All right, very good.
Not going to pass.
All right, thank you. Do we have any, I don't believe we have any old business, Mr. Colstein?
Not that I know of.
Okay, very good. Do we have any new business? I'm flipping back to the mic line. Please hold. Mr. Rigo, you have a main motion in the queue, but I don't know if that is.
No, I thought that was accurate. I would like to make if this is in order, let me know.
New business. You can do just about anything you want.
Okay, so can I make a motion to instruct the platform committee to only return when they have a updated statement of principles, and to essentially not return with a specific platform?
I think that yes. So just so we get that straight, you wish to direct the platform committee to come back with I guess their platform planks. You want them to be maybe explain a little bit more better, Rob, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah. So I'd like to instruct the platform committee to return with this updated statement of principles. Much like the amendment number 1 that just passed. That was really a statement of principles, right? The right to this, the right to that. Those are broad, general. Those are good. But I'd like them to return with that versus returning again with another group of specific amendments, because we're going to continue to play this game over and over again. This has now been this will go on now the 4th time where it's been rejected. So how many times do we have to do this before we get the idea that we don't have the votes for it, right? And so why don't we just do what can pass? That's kind of where I'm at with this.
All right. So,
and if that's out of order, let me know. I'm happy to remove it.
No, it's fine. The body can vote on it. So you wish to make a motion to direct the platform committee to basically come back with principle rather than principle guided platform planks rather than specific issue based platform planks. Is that accurate?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Can I read what I typed just to make sure we get this right?
Yes.
Okay. So motion by Robert Rigo to direct the platform committee to only report to the full state committee with proposed amendments to the platform pertaining to general principles and not specific platform planks.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Coles. Yes, that sounds proper. Is that good, Mr. Riga?
Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
good. I think everybody gets the idea anyway, but
okay.
That's it.
All right, we have a second from Ms. Newell, and just a moment of personal privilege. The executive committee did actually direct the platform committee prior to Mr. Cole's resignation from the state committee and as platform chair to do the same thing. So this would sort of be a reiteration of that. Mr. Russell, request for information.
Yeah, I hear two things being put together, and I don't think they're the same thing. We're discussing a platform, which is one thing, and a statement of principles, which is another thing. Should they be two separate, entirely different things, or we keep putting them together? And I think it's confusing that we're mixing them up.
So if I can just explain, Mr. Russell, that the statement of principles that the ISC came up with and is actually the platform. So is a principle based. It's probably more accurate to say that is a principle based platform and not an issue based platform currently. So that's if that clears it up a little bit for you.
A bit, but they should be different things because they are different things. So it's describing it to somebody is confusing because they're not really the same thing. If you understand.
All right, very good. Thank you. Mr. Durazio, motion to amend?
Yes, yes, I do have a motion to amend. And perhaps the body can help me formulate how we amend this. I think we need to make this time certain because of our rules. So I'd like to add a statement directing the platform committee to return with a report in not less by March 18th, 2022. 6 months. A little more than 6 months.
Cody,
Yeah.
that's a friendly amendment as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's not a friendly amendment because the floor has it. So,
Oh.
so
Who
we
had
have
seconded
somebody-
the original?
The original was seconded by Ms. Newell. So,
Cody, Mr. Chair, can I make a statement, please?
not yet, because we are looking for a second for Mr. Dratio's amendment. Would somebody like to second Mr. Dratio's amendment, please? Mr. Kolsky, can you just state the amendment once for me?
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to direct the platform to report to the full state committee, but so this would be as amended. So as amended, to direct the platform committee to report to the full state committee by March 18th, 2022, with proposed amendments to the platform pertaining to general principles and not specific issues.
All right, very good. So we'd have to vote to amend, and then we'd have to vote on the amended motion. So right now we're in the voting to amend. Mr. Kolsky, you're seconding that motion?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Do we have any discussion on this amendment?
May I, please?
Mr. Van Helmont, go for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I'm out of order. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're okay. You're in order. You're just on the phone. Thank you.
Okay. I just like to point out and make a statement, if I may. First of all, I want to say I do appreciate all that the committee is attempting to do. It's a very complex and is a lot of double-edged sword type of wording that is involved. If I could just make a recommendation, because I've served on numerous committees, just try to keep it very simple and right to a point. Not complicated. If you make it easier, it's going to be easier to get it passed, and it's also easier to explain. A couple of people have mentioned it. It gets a little confusing, but I don't want all the negativity in the comments that are against what the committee is attempting to do to be taken in a way of discipline, because we do appreciate, and I want to make that clear, that we do all appreciate the fact that you're taking on a big task. And we just want to make sure it's right. And that's why we have all of us together working in this and putting in ideas. So just don't take it personal. But I think, if you go back and simplify it a lot, I think it will do a lot better. And I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Van Helmont. Do we have any further discussion on the amendment? Mr. Popkin would like to speak against the amendment.
Yes. It shouldn't take 6 months for anybody to come up with a statement of libertarian principles. We all know the libertarian principles. It should take 6 minutes. So I'm against this. I'm against suggesting that it should take 6 months for the platform committee to do this.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Popkin. Mr. Duratio, speak for the amendment.
I just wanted to make sure I addressed Dr. Hopkins' concern. Just so we are in compliance with the rules, which require the platform committee to report twice per year. 6 months just allows us to stay in compliance with those rules. I would encourage the platform committee to report sooner than that. My amendment is just to get us in compliance with our rules. That's all.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Drosio. Do you have any further discussion on the amendment? Very well. Mr. Sechrist, if you can please create a poll. Shall we amend the motion on the floor to include a 6-month time limit? I think that's accurate, Mr. Drosio. Is that correct?
That's good.
Thank you. Whenever you are ready, Mr. Sechrist.
Poll is up.
Thank you. Poll is up. Please vote. That happened quick. Fifteen seconds. Please vote if you have not. Poll is expired. Shall we amend the motion on the floor to include a 6-month time limit? 23 ayes, 12 nays, 9 abstentions. Motion carries. The amended motion is now on the floor. Shall we direct Mr. Colster, if you can just read it for me as amended, just one more for the committee.
Okay, so original motion to direct the platform committee to report to the full state committee by March 18th, 2022, with proposed amendments to the platform pertaining to general principles and not specific issues.
Very good. Mr. Seacrest, if you can please create a poll to that end.
Is there discussion here, Cody?
Yeah, actually there's discussion. Give me a second. Let me switch back to the mic line. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
I apologize. Mr. Rigo would like to speak for the amendment.
Yeah, so I just want to give a background on why I'm proposing this motion now. So this would be, we're in the third attempt from the platform committee to propose specific amendments, specific platform planks. Each and every time it has been defeated, we simply don't have the votes for a specific platform at this moment in time. That may change in the future, but we don't have it as this time. So I would think in order to ensure everybody's time is used as efficiently as possible, that the platform committee, and this includes them too, who these guys put in a ton of work, and William was absolutely correct. It's not easy, and it's difficult, and they should be absolutely commended for the work they put in. But to return with something that can pass, so that we're not doing this every essentially quarter. So we've had one of these votes in the spring. We had one of them at the July or June meeting. I forgot when we met over the summer, and now we're having one in September. And so we can continue to do this, but I think ultimately we just won't have the votes to pass a specific platform. So let's do something that can pass, and let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rigo. Mr. Drachi, you'd like to speak against?
Yes, I would like to speak against this motion. I object to the being instructed in this way. I think this contradicts the personal philosophies of the chair of this committee as well as myself. We place a high priority on what the planks that we propose, and we propose them the way we do for a reason. And rather than try and switch gears and go a totally different direction, we are determined to try and find wording that works, and maybe find some specific planks that maybe will pass. And I don't think it's a waste of time, even if stuff doesn't pass. Not all motions pass. That doesn't mean those motions were a waste of time. I object to that categorization. But I think what would help as well is if more people got involved in the platform committee and partook in discussion on these planks, so that we have a better shot at coming up with something that is more likely to pass rather than completely change directions. I think we'd be much better off with more people involved. So if you are going to vote in favor of this motion, then I expect a healthy amount of those individuals to join this committee and contribute so we can get something that passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drachi. Mr. Drachi, speak for the motion. Sorry.
Yes. I believe Mr. Arrigo is trying to help the platform committee come up with something that the body will accept. And I think that is a very good thing. All due respect to Mr. Geraci's comments, we are a big tent. You've all heard me say that many times. We all come into the Libertarian Party with different ideas, different biases, but really the same enemy, and that's the state. Having a platform that supports that, and that this body can support, this whole body, not just the platform committee, is important. If we are going to be spinning our wheels, discussing repeatedly things that this body won't support, that's us spending time talking about a platform and less time fighting the state, which is where we should be spending our time by establishing a principles-based platform like we already have right now. That has been well adopted and well received. We allow ourselves to spend our time fighting the state.
Thank you, Mr. Durazio. Mr. Gunther would like to speak against.
Yeah, I'm against it because of the idea of, regardless if you disagree or agree with the proposals, the point of a committee is to decide what they want to bring up. If the body with this amendment, we're pretty much telling the committee what to do, and they're not really getting a choice to decide what to bring us. So that kind of makes no sense. What's the point of a committee if the body is already choosing for them what to bring to us? You know, that the reason we have a committee for them to debate, decide what to put in the proposal, even though I may be against it or not, that's their job. So we can't, what we're doing with this proposal or amendment is taking away their job and making it the body's job to choose for them. So that's why I'd be against it.
Thank you, Mr. Gunther. Moment of personal privilege, the body will always decide. Mr. Dr. Brayman would like, actually, Mr. Russell, I'm going to get you first because you had to speak for, and then we'll get to Mr. Brayman. Dr. Brayman, I apologize. I think I get that right by now. Mr. Russell, go for it.
I would say 180 degrees the opposite of what was just said, in that the body is the one making the choice. The committee is supposed to take feedback from the body and alter their position based upon what the body wants, because the body will be the one voting, and the majority is how democracy works. They're just trying to fashion that into a workable, practical form. But if you keep presenting something the body doesn't want, they're not going to agree. So.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Dr. Brayman, would you like to speak against?
Yes. Let me make sure can you hear me?
Yep, you can hear you. You're all good. Go ahead. Go for it.
So I'd like to remind everybody that the motion that came out of our committee did receive a majority. So it's a misrepresentation to state that this is something that the committee as a whole is against, the offering of these motions. We have been very careful not to try to push things that seem that they're going to have the same result of between a majority and a 2/3 vote. I think we can consider that and try to come up with other things. But frankly, if we're getting this much direction from the platform, from the committee as a whole, the only thing that's appropriate is for me to step aside, and maybe other people who feel that we need this kind of platform to step aside and let the people who want a different kind of platform to step forward and do the work. It's not appropriate for you to command us to do work that we don't think is important.
Great, thank you, Dr. Brayman. Ms. Dordal would like to speak against. Ms. Dordal. Ms. Dordal?
Give me a moment.
Okay, no problem.
I'm having technical difficulties. And I just don't want there to be an echo. Do you hear me?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. I just feel that it's not our place to tell the committee to bring general principles or whatnot. To be honest, everything I've heard them propose, for the most part, not all of it, but for the most part, is consonant with our general principles. I don't think it's totally against. There may be some exceptions, but to be honest, my personal opinion is that I prefer to leave the platform, even though I agreed on that proposal for Amendment 4 and certain things. For the most part, I like to leave it open because of the fact of different candidates, different views, and thinking that somehow we're going to have a perfect Libertarian Party that only has these views and that is very strict on their beliefs on, for example, I'm just going to use the last example of what I saw, a specific age range in which things can be done. It's very difficult. Us libertarians, we have a wide range of beliefs. You know, we have everything from anarchists to people that are somewhat statists. And we have to try to just stick to some basic principles that I think are there. I like the platform the way it's written. I don't have a problem with there being some additional things, some of which I've seen that the committee has proposed, but I definitely don't think that it is our place to tell them, come back with this. That's what we want, you know, which is not exactly what a platform committee should be doing. That's just my take.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a statement? I'm on a phone.
Mr. Van Helmet, I think you've already spoken on this. Am I correct? In the beginning?
No, it was on the
But
other thing.
I actually have an interrupting motion from Mr. Gunther, request for information. Mr. Gunther? Unmute.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Are we able to send the committee suggestions?
You're able to join. You're able to join the committee.
Join it, but not give a. All right, so but not direct suggestions.
You can send suggestions. It sounds like Dr. Brayman has asked, and Mr. Drachi have asked for people to join the committee if they have suggestions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Queter, Mr. Carr. I'm just going to hear these two speak against, and then I'm going to put it to a vote. I appreciate your patience. Mr. Gunther would like to speak against this.
It was like I said before. I just want to add that if we can, it's not a problem for the body to send suggestions. If that's not a problem, then it's, I guess it's proposals not a bad idea, but maybe we should word it differently, as in, you know, the state committee by March 18th would propose amendments, but without, I think we should take away the specific issues in the just what Tony suggested. Just make it more broad and simple.
Thank you, Mr. Denicky. Jeff, am I saying your last name correctly? I apologize. I thought it was Denicky. Am I correct?
It is. You're correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the point of information. So you'd like to speak against the motion?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and say that these committees, as far as I understand, are wide open. It's not like they're restricted, meaning any member of this body is welcome to join. And so if there are a number of people who feel that they want to contribute and have a direction it should be headed in, join and participate. That's the way to have your voice heard, not to try to direct the committee and force us into a box without actually participating in the discussions and knowing what's going on inside of it. Thank you.
Well taken, Mr. Denicky. Thank you very much. We're going to put it to a vote now. Mr. Seacrest.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, can I make a statement on this one? I made a statement on the previous one, if that would be okay. Or
oh, sure. Go ahead, Mr. Van Helmen, please.
All right, thank you. I just want to talk to the committee. Again, like I said prior, we do appreciate what you're doing, but like I've only been on the state committee for 6 months, so this is like my 3rd meeting, but everything in politics and even in our own party is evolving. And there are a lot of newer state committee people on board since I've got on. So the viewpoints of the committee are always going to be evolving and changing. But we're still learning as a group, individually as well as a body. For example, in Suffolk County, we have such a younger client or libertarian movement coming in our group, but they are younger and they have different viewpoints. And I think that's what a lot of this discussion ends up being. from all the different age brackets that are on this state committee. But we do want to work in unison and find common ground, of course. And again, I just want to reiterate that there's a lot of things evolving, and I've seen a lot of change on the state committee and committee people since I've been around, and I haven't even been on the state committee for a year. And that's going to continuously happen. So, you know, in 3 months from now, we might have another 2 or 3 new members that are voted in and applying their backgrounds as well as their interest and their wants and needs into the conversation, which might already be different than what you were going to propose. But we're not looking to make it difficult for everybody. And I think in time we will get this all straight. So I just want to make that reassurance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Van Helmond. We will put this to a vote now. Mr. Sechrist, I think you probably have had this lined up for some time now.
Poll is up.
Great, thank you very much. Poll is up. Everyone, please vote. Once.
Apologize for voting twice. My thing bugged out and it didn't show at first.
Oh, that is quite all right. It's not, voting twice is okay. Voting 50 times is not.
How about 69 times?
Yeah.
Poll is expired. Shall we direct the platform committee to report to the full state committee by March 18, 2022 with proposed amendments to the platform pertaining to general principles and not specific issues? 24 ayes, 18 nays. The motion passes. Dr. Brayman, you have your marching orders from the state committee. Next in the mic line, we have a motion to adjourn from Mr. O'Connor. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second. I'll second.
Could we get it in Porcupine? Would we all mind?
Sure.
Thank you very much. This motion second from Mr. Remian. I believe that made the motion was Mr. O'Connor. Mr. Remian seconded it. We are non-debatable. Can you put that poll up, Mr. Sechrist? Shall we adjourn?
Can I say a couple things while we're waiting?
You sure can.
First of all, if you haven't joined the LPNY Discord, I'm gonna put a link in the chat. And second, I think we should give a shout out to Paul and TJ for helping out with the Porcupine administration.
Yes, thank you very much to Paul and TJ for doing that. And just while we're waiting here too, I also want to thank Tony for getting the state fair booth staffed. It was kind of a group effort, but he was responsible for setting it up and taking it down and getting some people from the Rochester area at the booth. We managed to have staffing all week, which is pretty amazing. So we were very, very grateful for that. We made some good connections. We built our mailing list, and Dr. Brayman was there. I know David Penner was there. Laura was there. I was there. We had, who else I'm missing? Mr. Queter was there. We had Mr.
Worst.
Mr. Miles was there. The worst too. Mr. Whitmer, Mr. Olensky were both there. And I believe we also had some other folks who are not in state committee.
Mr. Nate Gable.
Nate Gable was there as well.
Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp was there first weekend, which was great. We appreciate Larry, and he really brought people in. Despite it was adverse circumstances for sure at the fair. Attendance was off by half. And shall we adjourn? We have one abstention, one nay for Mr. Haggerty. Always the
counterculture, baby.
Always a contrarian. And 27 ayes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your
I am going to stop the stream. Thank you for those